Alright guys, welcome to another tutorial, and in this video I'm going to be talking to you guys about one of the most important concepts in C, and that is of course variables. Actually not even in C, but entire computer programming as a whole. So let's actually clean this up because we're done with this. And what a variable is it's just a placeholder for something else. Whenever people teach this, they try to make it sound so confusing, but that's all a variable is, just a placeholder. So you probably use these all the time in math class, and let me go ahead and give you guys an example. Now, also I want to point out that what I'm about to type is not computer code. I'm just showing you guys this is an example. So if you set x equal to meatball, and then you say I love x, obviously you can see the basics of what a variable is. This doesn't mean I love x. It says I love meatball because this x, you set it equal to meatball. So again, this isn't, computer code, but that's basically what a variable is. A placeholder for something else. Simple enough. So now let's go ahead and learn how to use them, how to write actual computer code that makes variables. Now, every variable you have, you're going to have to give it a name. And there are a couple rules that you're not allowed to do whenever you're making a variable. And if you break these rules, you're going to get an error because it's going to mess up your computer. The first thing is you can't start with a number or an underscore. So you can't have a variable called like 69 hot dogs or however you spell it. You have to start with a letter from the alphabet, either lowercase or uppercase, but it's a common usage to start with a lowercase one. Now another thing is that you can't have spaces in your variables. So you can't have a variable named Bucky Roberts because that has a space in it. So again, no spaces, don't start with numbers, and also you can't have any weird symbols other than underscore. So you can't have like Bucky $6 signs and asterisks and that, and then Roberts. So basically start with a letter, no spaces, and well, just those basics I just told you. So now that we know how to name variables and we're not allowed to do. Oh, another thing I want to mention, and this is probably common sense too, but make sure you don't name your variables any name as a function. So don't name your variables main, don't name a variable printf or anything like that, or else it's going to get confused. It's going to look at the variable like, whoa, are you like trying to run a function, or what the heck are you doing, idiot? So that's what your computer is going to say to you. Trust me, I heard it before. And well, now we can actually start typing them. So whenever we want to use a variable, the first thing we need to do is tell C that we're going to be using it. And this is called defining your variable. So how do we tell C? Well, the first thing we need to do is tell it what type of data we're going to store in it. Are you going to use this variable to store a word, a number? What are you going to do? So let's go ahead and say that we wanted to store an integer, a whole number. So type int, that's the keyword for int, and now type your variable name, and I'll put my age in there. So of course add a semicolon at the end, and it's basically saying, hey C, we're creating a variable, we're going to call it age, and it's going to store a whole number, aka an integer. So now whenever C runs across it later in your program, it's not going to get confused. It knows that age is a variable and it stores some value. So now we have a variable. How do we store a value in it? Well, all we do is it's actually really easy. Type the name of your variable, and in this case age, and put an equal sign and set it equal to some integer, such as my age is 27. So basically we created a variable and we stored the value of 27 inside the variable age. Now whenever our computer sees this word age, it's just going to treat it as the number 27. So let's go ahead and do one more thing. Printf on the screen, and we can say Bucky is %d. Remember, this is an integer, %d, and we'll say years old. Now for the conversion character, we can just put age. We don't need to put the number 27 itself because this age is pretty much viewed as that value. So run this bad boy, and it says Bucky is 27 years old. Pretty sweet, and of course, we can change this later on. So when I'm old, I can change this program to say 65. Bucky is 65 years old. Boom, shebang, pretty stinking sweet. Now, another thing that I want to teach you guys is that you can also use simple mathematical operations with variables instead of just putting a basic number in there. So instead of just writing 65, you can have your computer figure it out. So you can say Bucky is 2014 minus 1987. So if I run this, it's going to say Bucky is 27 years old, because what it did is it said, okay, for the value of this variable, perform this calculation. So 2014 minus 1987 equals 27. So store that answer in the variable age and then print it out on the screen. So if we wanted to get really cool, what we could do is something like this. We could say, okay, let's have a variable for age. We'll have a variable for current year, and we'll have a variable for birth year. So if you had no idea how old you were, you could run a program like this to figure it out. So basically, we have three variables: age, current year, and birth year. Now, for current year, we could set that equal to 2014. For birth year, set this equal to 1987. And for the age, what we can do is this: take the current year and subtract the birth year. So basically what it's going to do is, since this already has a value of 2014 and this is pretty much 1987, it's going to take this variable, subtract it from this variable, and store the answer in the variable age. So pretty sweet. Now whenever we run it, check it out. 27 years old. If you're running, alright, what if I was born in 1963? Well, then I would be 51 years old. I always wondered that, and now I know. So that is basically a real quick introduction to variables. Again, all they are is placeholders for something else. And in the next tutorials, I'm going to be showing you guys how to use different types of variables and some other awesome things that you can do with them. So thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. And again, remember, if you want any of this source code, I'm going to go ahead and post it on my forum so you can get it then. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.